And welcome everyone back again from the Trekyards mission briefing, your every single week dose of a ship of the great Star Trek franchise, be it a movie, a show, an animated show, a reboot, a book, everything and anything we look at here today. But Stuart, did you get my hint, even though you picked the ship today, so it's your hint that you made me say by a I don't know. Hi Stuart.
Hi, how you doing? Yes, so today we're going to do some traveling. We're going to travel far, beyond the farthest star, let's say.
That's a long way.
It is.
Damn, can we even get there? I mean, what's that? Transwarp, slipstream, I mean, warp wouldn't get there. I guess if you use warp 10, it'd take...
Trans-slipstream. Yeah.
Quantum
Anyway.
trans-slipstream.
We're looking at a ship from Star Trek the Animated Series today from the episode Beyond the Furthest Star, and that would be the alien Podship. So this first picture is I figured I'd start with this one, which is a CG render of it, and great shot of the Enterprise and the Podship. So, do you remember the ship from the show at all? Did you watch the show?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously it's been around my entire life, and it wasn't really a priority to watch when I was younger. You know, Star Treks were on, but we had quite a few on VHS, and this one I remember watching. This isn't the time going backwards one, is it? They go into no. Okay, that I remember like three, and there's a holodeck one. I remember like 3 episodes, and this is one of them. And I always thought it fit, but fit because it was in Star Trek. Like, it doesn't have any Star Trekisms to it, but it is a Star Trek ship, and it says it is alien. You know, that should be what Star Trek is. So it's kind of that strange dichotomy of what is design. But I do remember the episode, and I remember it being very different. Well, what were you?
Yeah, same thing. I love that the animated series had the capability of showing really aliens and ship designs. That's one thing that the actual show kind of lacked because of budget and you know, just physical constraints. So it was very cool to see something very alien. And this ship definitely says that. It doesn't say ship to me initially.
It says branch of a tree almost. Branch of a really weird tree.
Well, if you go to the next shot, it shows it from actually in the show. Now, we do know that the ship was operated by a group of insectoids, so very similar to probably like the Xindi insectoids.
Okay.
But millions and millions of years ago. And the ship was also spun. It wasn't constructed or poured per se. It was spun like a silk almost. Which they kind of explain in the show. So very organic, which fits with the whole, like you said, a branch or like a seed pod kind of thing that you'd find from a plant. So
wow, what a strange, what a strange, interesting concept. I guess when you reach a level of technology that is so far beyond where organic technology is, you know, key, then to just build anything spacefaring. I'm looking at these tendrils, and you know, they're very tiny in you know, not so much in scope, but when you look at the distance of some of them, they're such a long distance to have such a small piece, you know, bending and changing. But hey, if it's able to live in space, that implies a certain strength. And you know, you look at our, you know, our appendages, these are actually pretty strong considering, but they're very thin because they're organic. They have organic things holding it together and give that extra strength. You know, I can, you know, probably destroy a pen quicker than I can my finger. I don't know, maybe, who knows. But that's interesting. I mean, what was your take on the design? Would you call it design? If it was
very compartmentalized. Like there's like 15 pods or so, and I don't know if each one serves a specific purpose. One's the command module per se. One's living quarters. I don't know. It's just very interesting. If one gets damaged or depressurized, it's not going to affect the rest of the ship per se. So it's almost a smart design in that respect.
Well, given the size, I mean, I haven't seen the episode in years, but I remember they were not trying to colonize, but they were like, you know, a lot of people out there they were going out for a reason. So maybe a lot of them have, you know, organic cryopods, or maybe it's still a living culture, and each pod is a different town, and then it's all interconnected. I mean, but I guess one of the questions I have then is, how is it moving? And
what's the propulsion like?
yeah, because all I can see is that there's okay. Secondary question before we hit that, is the right hand side the front, or is the left hand side the front? Because I was looking at it from the right hand side being the back, so it's single engine. But in fact, if it's the other way around, then the two engines. I mean,
Well, you're thinking engines though. You're using your ape brain. It doesn't necessarily mean there's an engine.
I'm asking.
As you said, for traveling, okay, since it's called the Podship, and since it's designed much like a seed pod, I would assume it would use solar winds per se, or galactic currents of some kind to move. Maybe harness that kind of power, radiation. I don't know, different radiation. I don't know, spectrums or something. I don't think there's literally like an engine pod, because it's very organic to me. So I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, definitely. I gotta agree with that. Yeah, it's just I think what they're trying to tell us is that the right hand side is the front, given the orientation of the Enterprise, which would seem to follow a slight logical pattern. Like the front is not the bridge, but there's a sort of flow to it. If the back is the aft, then primary hull, then forward. It's more alien if it's the other way around, because then it's just a jibble jabble of shapes.
That's funny, because I always assumed that the left hand side there was the front.
Yeah, that's why I'm making the question.
Huh. If you go to the next picture, it shows some of the pods closer in relation to the Enterprise size, and you see them blown out. Now the insectoids did that; they blew them out from the inside deliberately, so that the ship wouldn't be captured by whatever was going after them, as I recall. So here we see the pods. Now one pod is assumably could hold the Enterprise. So these things are quite large, and like you said, it could be like a colony ship with different towns, or
or one of the possible ideas when you think organics don't. If you look at a human body, while everything is connected, everything is individual. You know, the brain is a separate component, the lungs are separate components, liver, heart, everything's a separate piece, all connected. So why would you think this would be any different? If it's organic, then while it's not necessarily a creature, maybe one pod needs to be the brain stem, one pod needs to be the oxygen supply. It's very much separated. So while it's not, this is the city pod, it's this is this, and the threads all connected like a nervous system and like a bloodstream.
Yeah, I totally buy that. It looks almost like the nervous system of the human body, like the spinal cord pulled out of the spine. This is what it looks like, all the little tendrils going everywhere. So I totally buy that. Well, if we go to the next picture, it shows a much better close-up of a burst out pod and the size comparison. Although the pods seem a lot smaller now with the people there, but I'm sure there's different sized pods on it.
I have a feeling these are like mini pods as well. Like they're probably going to be, the hugest pods, but I didn't get a sense these were all the exact same things. I mean, if you look at the shapes, they're different. One is very ovoidy. These are all circly. Yep. So I'm assuming they're like micro pods that are sub things next to it. But that's obviously we're looking at one individual piece, but to have an internal space just be what looks like a park in essence. Just like things. I'm intrigued what and why.
Well, that could be the oxygen producing part of the ship that pumps it through that tendril to.
Whoops, then.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's tough to say because it's an alien species. We're thinking with our human ape brains. We're not, There's so many possibilities for what things could be and how it operated.
Well, I have a question then. How big were the aliens compared to humans then, scale wise?
Not sure. I don't know if they ever said it in the episode.
Okay.
It really deserves a rewatch. I do remember parts of it, but I always assumed human size, but that's just my ape brain again.
Neat.
Yeah. So, next picture is a shot of the Enterprise next to one of the more round pods again, and yeah, just a great detailing on the pods. It looks really organic, and I don't know, just a very cool looking ship.
It's got like a shell to it. a sort of organic-y shell, or like you can see the chloroplast, inside of a membrane. It's got that sort of feel, which is obviously the organic nature of it, but it has that sort of vibe. I'm kind of sad though if this is again not necessarily a creature, but an organic system is very dependent on it itself, so it's sad to have it all ripped apart. Although it's a very thin, I thought this in the last picture, it's a very thin hull. What looks to be a very thin hull.
Well, it's spun. I mean, it's like a spider web. It's very strong. A lot of tensile strength in a spider web and stuff. And that's very organic and thin. So. And
I'm kind of surprised this thing hasn't been healing itself.
Well, it's dead.
Oh, was it actually dead in the show?
Yeah, it's been there for like 3 million years.
I thought it was traveling for 3 million years.
No, this all happened like 3 million years ago, where they destroyed it and stuff. So, at least that's what I recall, anyway.
Yeesh.
So, yeah. Although I would assume, had it not been destroyed, that if it did get damaged, one of the pods got damaged, that it would regenerate itself in that kind of way. So,
you'd hope so.
Yeah. The next picture is actually from the Ships of the Line calendar. This is a great rendition of the ship with the Enterprise there.
Wow. That's a hell of a thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The tendrils almost seem a lot thinner in this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're more like balloon strings, keeping a balloon together.
Yeah.
Wafer thin. I mean, again, scale is relative, but I was thinking previously, and given when we saw the people compared to it, I was thinking, how are you going to get between the different pods? Well, there is enough space in them to have, transporting tubes or whatever, but these look terribly, terribly thin.
Yeah. But then again, this is just a modern take on, or a CGI take on the shot from the show, so.
It looks less, like, the version we saw in the animated show looked more like a cohesively non-cohesive shape. This feels like a tangle of wires with stuff. Like, I don't get any sense, like, not in a bad way, but I know it's meant to be destroyed, but it doesn't have a spaceship vibe, it just has pieces of floating something together. That leap is harder for me to get to with this picture.
Yeah, I totally get that. I always thought that shape that we saw in the animated series was the constant shape of the ship, but looking back, if it was alive, it could be more structured and maybe more like pulled back or something, but as it died, it's just slowly kind of drifted together into this kind of mass right now.
That's a wonderful idea. Absolutely. Yeah.
I would love to see it in its full glory, in its prime.
Great idea. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. You could huddle all the pods together and have the tendrils wrapped around them, protecting them, perhaps, in like a ball form. And then as they burst out, and over the millions of years, it just kind of sat there. And
wow. Nice. You just gave me back canon for the episode. Nice. Good job.
And the next picture shows a size chart. Now, one of the sources of information I checked out before this episode said that it was over 9,700 feet long.
What?
This size chart doesn't speak to that per se. I don't know if they say
Close,
the size in the episode.
I don't think they would do. It's very big though. I mean that's huge. What's that, like 4 E's, 3 E's put together? So when you break it down like that, it's certainly not. I mean, again, it's smaller than the J, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is nice to say that we can create stuff that beats organic tech. Although Doug obviously says that is organic, but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, and size is really relative, especially when you have these tendrils and empty space in between all the pods. To put all the pods together, it would still be a lot bigger than the Enterprise, but.
This would be a great comparison if it gets to Deredex, wandered into Romulan space and that ship's next to it. It's like, oh, you cute little organic thing from 3 million years ago. Whereas they're like, oh, they're super thing. We can build things bigger anyway. Ha 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 ha. Fire disruptors, and everyone's like, aw.
I'd really be interested to learn if there was any books written about this species. I mean, the Star Trek books and side canon always tend to go back to things. I just bought one after Christmas that, the Face of the Unknown, where they go back and visit the First Federation and stuff. So I would, if there was a book about this, if somebody could put it in the comments, because I would really love to read about this ship and this species. Even if it's not official canon, I'd still really love to learn a lot about it. So
awesome. Yeah.
And the next picture is just one cobbled together with an image of the Enterprise from the show. And they took the animated ship and they kind of changed it a little bit to look like it was in the show. So this is how we would have seen it if it was an actual episode.
That's funny. Yeah, this is clever. It's for those who are not older than they could be. This is how TOS used to look.
Yes.
The 1960s iteration. That's why in Trekyards we do use both clips to show how the original CG looked as well. 'Cause it's interesting to find both versions.
Well, it wasn't CG though.
Special effects. Sorry, special effects. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's a hell of a difficult thing. Although I think back then it probably would have been like, little Polestar, little plastic balls with Christmas tree lights in that connected by,
coat hanger wires.
There you go. That's what I was gonna say.
Form it, yeah.
Yeah, and then just paint it green and blue and give it some neon paint, and there you go. You've got your alien spaceship.
Yeah. I don't think they would have actually gone through all that trouble in the show, which is, again, when I started this, the animated series is awesome for that.
They couldn't, they couldn't make it look very good on screen, but I think you could certainly build something that resembles it out of rubbish parts, which they could budget. That would have been fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I mean, well, thank you for picking this one. This is certainly one I remember. If you go to the next picture, the last picture, the CG picture, yeah, I mean, a classic, and so it's one of those ones that did stay in my head because it's so different. But that could have been a two-parter. It could have been a movie. I mean, imagine seeing this thing, the Constitution class, finding this alien vessel which is so much larger, but in a different way. It's not just vengeance bigger. It's bigger and different, and then it gets caught in a time hurdle and it goes back and it sees it in its prime, and you've got all these organic things that's a complete contrast to their existence, and the creatures are bigger and they barely fit in the corridors, and it could be a really interesting movie, a very sci-fi movie, Yeah.
So anyway, guys, hope you like this look at this very alien ship, and we've kind of come up with a few things in this episode. Just talking about it is really fun, and coming up with new theories and things. So I think we kind of touched on that. But
and
like I said, I want to read about this species. So.
Yeah, and it is worth saying the anime show is worth a watch. Yeah, all the original voice actors for the most part, some good performances, some great visuals, and it is well made. So do check it out. Don't leave that part of Trek lore out of your brain.
The storytelling is very good and very cerebral for a kids show. It is geared towards Star Trek fans, not kids necessarily. So, and it's written by the same people that did the stories for the original series mostly. Yeah. So I consider them all canon. They're part of the 5-year mission as far as I'm concerned. So Anyway, guys, if you like the video, please click the like button. Well, if you haven't subscribed by now, you really need to do that. There's a big red button down there. There's a big red button that says subscribe, and you click that. And if you haven't done this either, there's a little bell icon. You need to click that, and then you click the little box that says alert me of all uploads and notifications, and then you'll get a notification every time we release an episode, so you don't miss anything. So
genius ideas, Stuart. If you want to support the show financially and help us come to every single week and sometimes every single day, there's two ways. Either our monthly donation service called Patreon, which is sort of geared towards YouTube creators like us. You support $5, $10, $15 a month, which isn't a lot when you break it down. It's like a cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee. It is nothing. It comes to us directly. It goes towards show expenses, and there you go. And it helps keep the lights on, many lights as I use, and bringing you even more great content as we keep pushing ourselves. Or what's the other way, Stuart, to help the show?
Visit Trekyards.com. There is a donate button if you want to make a one-time donation, or even if 3 or 4 times a year if you want to donate to the show, as you have funds available. Please do that as well, if you can't do the monthly things. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at an animated ship from the animated series, and hope you look forward to the next one we do. So anyway, until next time, everybody, I am Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Kongs.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Beyond the furthest star, as you might say. Out there. That away.
With quantum trans slipstream.
Yes. Engage that, by the way.
Bye, guys.